Hey guys, welcome back to the Sideboard channel. For this week's video, we're gonna talk about Lord Slug. With the inclusion of set 6 cards, this whole deck just becomes just so much faster. I myself was taken surprised by it because I was playing against some other hand destruction like Shinron hand destruction, and in the end I was the one destroying their hands because of how fast it is with the Agent of Destruction card, and in particular one card, Wings, that actually makes the whole deck so much more playable. So without further ado, let's see each other after the short intro, alright? So yeah, let's talk about the deck. I'm not sure how the video is going to turn out because right now the screen on my laptop, it's giving me a very strange type of color. There's like a yellow hue around it that makes things look a little bit strange. But I will check at the end the video quality how it is, and maybe it's a problem with the screen. I have to fix it. I don't know. Let's see. New stuff, always problematic. Alright, so let's talk about the leader. The leader is Lord Slug, and if you don't know his ability, is that once per turn, you get to take a life from your life area back to your hand, and if you do so, Lord Slug gets 10k, gets critical for the duration of its turn. So when he swings, he's a 10k critical, he swings at that. The reason that is really good, even though he does not have the 5k, it's because it really forces your opponent to either discard one from their hands to protect themselves from the hit, or combo or take the life, but there is no net plus for him. So critical, it's always a very good ability to have. So that is Lord Slug, the leader. So you have the ability to self-awaken, so you don't have to put cards in your deck to self-awaken because he himself can do it. And then he is unfortunately a draw 2, but in this deck that's good because I would love to draw more than my opponents because of the other side's ability, right? The other side's ability is this: when he attacks, he draws a card, of course, and once per turn, if you take one card, if you discard one card, your opponent has to discard one card. So you're destroying your hands to make your opponent destroy his. So you always want to have a higher hand size than his, because then it's always more painful for your opponent that way moving forward. Alright, so again, I'm not going to go through every card because I believe that most of us can read, and most of us actually know most of the cards. So I'm just gonna go through the more important cards in this deck and some of the ideas why I put those cards that way. So it's almost a mono green deck with 4 yellow cards, Assimilate. So this is the Clash of Fate extra cards. The reason why we play this is because when you choose, he allows you to choose one green and or yellow Namekian card with energy 2 or less from your deck and add it to your hand. So for 0 cost, it is a searcher. So it's a tilter. It's not even a searcher, it's a tilter. So you just put this down and you grab the cards that you need. There are only 2 options in this deck, which is the first one, your super combo. The reason why I play this super combo is because there's a high chance that you can get this into your hands. If you don't get this, you have Assimilate, and Assimilate will be able to grab this into your hands also. And the next one is Lord Slug. So when you don't have the cards that you need, Lord Slug helps you. When you slap it down, you can search for anything in the deck, any Lord Slug army in the deck, except for the big Titanic Ambition. That's why I play 4 copies of that, because everything is searchable through this guy, except this guy. So that is why I want it to be more consistent. That's why I play more of them. Alright, so the reason why for the super combo, because it's searchable. The most important card in this deck is this guy, Wings, and with this inclusion, that's why Lord Slug became so much more playable. He is 1 cost, he is a Slug army, so he helps you with the board. He has barrier, so he stays on the board, and also although you can have only 1 of him, but he's enough because with him on the board, all Slug army gets a reduction of energy by 1. Yep, so there is no, so that's it. So everything that you play has a -1 cost because most of them are Slug army, with the exception of the extra cards. So anything that can slap down on the board, it's a Slug army, so it gets a -1. Yep. Alright, so let's take a look at the deck itself, how I'm gonna play it. So usually what I do is turn 1, I slap in Wings. So this is one of the cards that you really have to hard mulligan for, so you really have to make sure that you get the cards into your hands. Yep. Then the second card that you want to play, usually turn 2, I'm not doing anything, but if you're against Shenrong, I'll slap him down, because he becomes just 2 costs. When you play him, your opponent chooses a card and discard it into the drop area. And then once per turn, you get to play, for 1 green energy, you get to play a Lord Slug army card that is 3 or less except him, yeah, for just 1 energy. So what you can do is on turn 2, you can slap him down. Your opponent has to discard a card, take a life swing, and make your opponent discard 1 or take a life. The other part that you can also do is on turn 3, that is when your big play comes. Because turn 3, you literally have 2 ways to go about it. Yep. The first one is you tap 1 energy and play Idonic Warrior Angela. This is such a great card. I would even argue that this is the MVP outside of Wings, because Wings is by default the MVP. Adonic Warrior itself, Angela, he's also really, really good. For just 2 energy now, you owe 1 energy with this guy. You get to play him, and when you play him, there's a bond 2, which always works because you either have this guy or this guy on the board. You're not going to pay 3 energy for him. Yep. When this card attacks, if your leader is Slug Army, which we are, your opponent chooses 1 card from their hands and places it into the drop area, just like that. Yep. So, and he is a critical, so they have to deal with this critical guy. So either they take the damage or they discard 1 more cards in their hands. So you could either, then with this guy, you could really do a lot. Make your leader discard 1, he discards 1, play a swing with this guy, your opponent discard 1, Toa, your opponent discard 1 again. So it's discard 3 in 1 turn. Alright? And before that, your opponent has to deal with critical, and your opponent has to deal with him. Then the next turn, what you can, or alternatively, you could play Slug Army, slap him down, because he is a 4 course but now a 3 course, and what he does is that you choose one of your opponents in your drop area. You get to play 1, 3 or less, you get to bring him out, and you get to untap 1 energy, so you are now with like at least you have 2 energies that are active, 1 energy that is active, and then because you're turn 3, right? So you untap 1 energy, you play him, you swing with him, your opponent discard 1, discard 1, discard 1, discard 3. Next turn, tap 2, Titanic Ambition on top of him, take your opponent's card and 3 of your opponent's hand and discard it. So this is one of the things that you do. Yep. Take note, what is very important here is to make sure that you already take out your Angela out from the drop area before you play things like Overwhelm, because you want to use him to play this guy out. I usually don't have the problem because I always remind myself to do that, but just for anyone who's playing, take note, there is a conflict between this Sparkling 5, this warrior, and this lady, because you want to play them out from the drop area. So this lady comes out only when Angela it's off the clear. Yeah, he is not in the drop area. So this is something that you need to take note. This guy, it's a free blocker, so he's there to help you with the Slug army count and also to block stuff. And Meta Matcha, he is such an interesting card actually, because for 1 cost you get to play a 5 drop. So you could actually do it in turn 2, tap 1, play him out. So you have a 5k token and you swing with him, use the 5k combo token to combo. So your leader becomes a 15k critical that your opponent hopefully will combo out, because that's what you want him to do, so that he destroys his whole hand for you. Last point, not the last point, I'm going to talk a little bit about the sideboard. Last point before we go into the sideboard is this, that before you play Titanic Ambition, right? The difference between Titanic Ambition and the rest of your deck is that The rest of your deck, your opponent chooses. Titanic Ambition, you chooses. Even though you don't see, you get to pick at random 3 cards from his hands. The difference, so it is very important for you that you make your opponent discard first, then you play Titanic Ambition. The reason why is because maybe, let's say your opponent has 7 cards. Yep. Your opponent has 7 cards and you play Titanic Ambition. So out of the 7, you get to choose 3 and then you throw it into your opponent's drop area. There's a high chance that there's a good chance that you don't get the cards that are important to them because it's 3 out of 7. But what you can do is you can use his ability, make your opponent discard 1, so the opponent chooses the card that he doesn't need and help you to discard it. Dark Temptation Toa, your opponent chooses 1 card that he doesn't really need, the least important cards, and he discard it. And then you get to swing with Angela, he chooses 1 and he discard it because he thinks that he doesn't need it. Slap in Titanic Ambition, now after discarding 3 cards, you have to deal with 4, and then you are the one who chooses that 3. There's a high chance that you will hit something important in his hands. Maybe that 1 card that he really needs to end the game next turn, you can use, hopefully you can grab it out of his hands and throw it into the drop area. So help your opponent to help yourself, if that makes any sense. So let's go to the sideboard. The sideboard, it's not really like a proper sideboard. There's no 15 cards, but it's something that I have in my head that while I was playing the deck. What happened is that I realized on the sideboard, for the deck itself, there is no good way to KO, to remove. Bot removal is not inbuilt into the deck. So I'm thinking of ways to do that, but at the cost of hand destruction, right? Because Dark Temptation Toa has to be replaced with Dimensional Fool, and maybe the Xylun, the Lawyer, or maybe Medamacha has to be replaced with this guy. But this guy is not exactly very good in removing any cards from the board either, because he has to wait for the second turn to tap 2 to choose one of your opponent's battle card, KO it, and if you manage to KO it, your opponent drops a card, places a card into the drop area. So I'm not too sure how good this is, but I'm unable to find something which is very low drop while making the play. Take note, your entire deck functions on very low drop because everything is 2 costs or less. I can explain. This is 2 costs or less. This is 2 costs for putting it to evolve, and this is Preemptive Strike. It's also 2 costs. So this is the highest cost, and it does not even make your opponent discard a card or KO a battle card. So I'm thinking if there is people who are watching out there, if you have any good ideas how to do bot control with green, Dimensional Fool, yes, that's it, or maybe something that is green but also low drop that can deal with it. I thought about Krillin, but Krillin is there just for people who plays Tau. In my opinion, Tau should not be a card at all, but it exists. Someone in Bandai hates green, so that's that. So we need to have in our sideboard at least 3 Krillin, just in case our opponent plays Tau. Alright, so that's the deck. I hope you like it. I have so many videos I have so many decks in preparation, so I really am excited to make sure that they work properly before sharing it. So subscribe, comment, and like the video. I will appreciate it very much. See you guys in the next video. Ciao, bye.